This video is an instant replay for those of you who missed the live discussion on Sunday, January 14th. I was scheduled to have a group of ladies in to discuss the issue of the pick me woman who goes out of her way to seek male approval and attention, even online. And so we feel like this is kind of dangerous, especially if these women are mothers, to model this type of behavior and have this kind of attitude. Is very self-defeating, and it indicates some serious problems, emotional problems with the ladies who adopt this kind of behavior. So in this video, there are questions from the audience that we address. There are some issues that we wanted to talk about that have been presented in various forms, comments rather, on my Facebook wall, on the guest Facebook wall, and here on YouTube. So we hope you enjoy this, and it opens your eyes to some things and probably will raise more questions than it answers. But if you have some questions that you want answers to, feel free to post them in the comments section below. I would like to do this more often, so just get some articulate, intelligent ladies that have something to say, or guys as well. I'd like to do these kinds of interviews with them on topical subject matter. So if you have an idea for a guest, please submit the name to me at survivingdating@gmail.com by the guest name and how to contact them, and a brief bio so that I know what you feel is a benefit to having them on for interview. It's Deb Cooper. Enjoy the broadcast. Let's get started. What we wanted to do today, ladies, and all of you will get an opportunity to chime in. We wanted to talk about this. I mean, I know that this has kind of been going on in a different on a different level, but I think with the advent of social media being so popular, we get to see it now by the thousands on a daily basis. What we call the pick-me's, women who go out of their way to try to get validation and approval and attention from complete strangers. They don't know these men. They probably never meet them, never see them. They definitely not gonna date them. They won't marry them, nothing. But for some reason, it seems to be extremely important to them that they get that they do everything that's possible to get these men's acknowledgement of them, even for just a few words on social media. It is my conclusion that the majority of this stems from extremely low self-esteem. Why? I don't know. There's a variety of reasons. I did a whole webinar on self-esteem. Did I ever put it on the YouTube? Probably not. Oh,
Yes, I saw a YouTube video that you did about self-esteem that was really helpful, I think.
that's
Um,
true. I do
yeah.
have that, but I was going to put the webinar, all the slides up too, but I guess I just never got around to it. Oh, well. But anyway, that is what I think is at the core of it. But what we wanted to do today was get your input. I wanted to, talk to you about what you think. Where are you going? How come you're so far away from the camera?
Because I'm trying to set my phone down somewhere, so I gotta hold it.
Oh my God. It was like, hello, I need binoculars to see you.
I know.
That's what we wanted to talk about. So this is Misha. She's one of the co-hosts. We're still waiting for the other ladies to come. I guess they on CP time, but that's all right. We'll get started with just the two of us. Since really it was actually her idea. And but since I have the platform, to actually make it happen, I'm already paying for it, so may as well use it. We decided to do it over here so all of you could participate as well if you're interested. All right, so let's get started, because one of the things that you were saying was, you had posted some memes, and you were like, look at this stuff. What is wrong with these women? So don't you just take the floor and kind of tell them a little bit about what you do, because first, a girlfriend is like a magical she got a magical wand when it comes to makeup. And I said, don't you dare come on this camera all made up and have me over here looking like roadkill. Don't do that.
And I look like roadkill with some lipstick on. So
Okay, good. So we look the same. All right. So go ahead and take the floor and share your thoughts on this topic.
um well, I live in the Midwest, and I just turned 30 last month actually. And I noticed that with each generation, it almost, I don't know if I would say it's worse than what it seemed to be, or what I guess I heard from like my parents, or videos, music, all kind of stuff. I think that, like you were saying, social media and just the internet in general has really brought to light, I think, what has really been going on for a really long time. And it seems like the more I would say the more exposure we're able to get because of social media, because of the internet, because, technology just ever changing, it's, and just being so advanced, it's like now there's no hiding it. And black women are really shooting themselves in the foot. And I see it, to me, it's almost like an epidemic. Like when you were talking about an epidemic of like low self-esteem amongst women, especially black women, I think that kind of ties into that. And it's almost like we feel like we cannot live, or we cannot survive, or we cannot truly be happy unless we have a man validating us, even if that validation isn't genuine. We just want to be
Right.
noticed, we just want to be seen. And it's almost like black women literally, my ears itching. Black women literally will accept whatever a man says over what he does. Like you said, like you always say, you pay attention to actions, and we always
Hmm.
paying attention to words, and the actions and the words don't line up, yet we still have this, it's like this misnomer that we have: if something isn't working, then try harder. And so when we see that it's not working out, we try harder, we put in more effort, we do more, we go more places, we buy more stuff, we spend more money, we cook more meals, we do all of that. We fix more plates. That's another thing I got to talk about early too. Like,
Oh, let's not even talk about that topic.
plate fixing, but it's pretty much, that's how I feel. I feel like whatever isn't working, instead of us letting it go, we try harder. When we see that men aren't giving us attention, when we look natural, when we wear natural hair, then we put weave in our hair. Then when they say, well, I like a woman that's natural, then we go back to natural hair. Then they say, oh, well, I don't like that natural hair because I think it makes you look nappy headed. And then you put some weave, and then they say, well, why you weave so long? Then you go back to natural. Well, you need to put some moisturizer on. It's like we always going back and forth, jumping through all these hoops for men who don't want you anyway. It's like it's never ending. When one thing doesn't work, we do something else. When we see that the problem is not us, that it's them, we still don't recognize that. We'll say, well, maybe I should have chosen better, or maybe I should do this differently. It's never, you know what, they can't be pleased, so I'm gonna just love myself and be alone and just work on attracting the type of man that I want in my life. That never occurs to us. We constantly feel like we have to do things to fix the relationship or to make somebody want us. And I've seen that in my family. I've seen that, with women in my family, with friends. The worse things get, the more work the women are putting in, and the men are doing nothing.
And that is very true. I've always wondered about that willingness to assume responsibility and blame and guilt for anything that goes wrong in a relationship. And I'm like, I don't this there's a strong resistance to making men be responsible and accountable
Mm-hmm.
for the things that they do and the choices they make. Even as simple as a discussion I had, a video I made a couple of weeks ago, where this guy, it was based on a guy talking about, well, she won't make me use a condom, so it's her fault that I'm a daddy. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what? How old are you? This dude was in his 40s.
I
And he still
remember
had that
that.
that mentality. And there were a lot of women who were co-signing for what he was saying. And I think a lot of it is the same thing. I don't know, I didn't get those messages, so I can only guess by what women are saying, that it's they're part of their socialization. Well, if your man cheats on you, then it means you didn't do what you were supposed to do and you made him cheat. If you're out here and you're still single, that means you're not good enough. And I think
Mhm.
those messages get into these women's heads, and in order to prove that they are good enough, they feel like they need to do all of these things, all this stuff online, to get this validation that they are
Right.
good enough. And that's
Mhm.
just very, very sad to me.
Mhm. Yeah, it's this notion that I think it's because a part of it, I think about racism in general and how whenever, Black people, we have our issues that unfortunately do stem from being oppressed, but then we also have self-inflicted stuff too. And we have things that we refuse to address. And however, it's been proven that oppression, slavery, racism has made an impression on Black people's psyche throughout the generations, and that's has a lot to do with it. And so, if you think about that, think about women. Women have been oppressed since the beginning of time.
Exactly.
Women have been oppressed since way before races of people have ever been oppressed. So it's kind of hard for me to it's hard to expect for women after eons of oppression to just get it, to just really get it. But at a certain point, you have to take responsibility for your life and the things that are going on in your life that you're not happy with. And you have to learn how to love and appreciate yourself. That is the only thing that is going to keep Black women from being stuck on stupid for the rest of the century. Is we have to learn how to love and appreciate ourselves. And I know it's hard to do that when every time we turn around, Black men are making fun of us. They're constantly poking fun at us. All these characters getting famous on the internet by making fun of Black women, with this with these long weaves that are like bright colors and this ugly
Hmm.
lipstick, and talking real ghetto and stereotypical, like what's his name, Sharkeisha, the dude that plays Sharkeisha, and the guy that plays TT, and just a few other like internet sensations that basically make
And
the
we could go way back to Shanae with Martin
right,
Lawrence,
Shanae,
Yeah.
right, Shanae, Norbit, Professor Clump's mama, and Eddie Murphy playing Norbit's wife. What's her name? Rasputia. It's just all of these. It's like Black men are the only men that I know that make fun of their women like that. You got some white men, like Robin Williams played Mrs. Doubtfire. He maybe had a couple other white guys, but for the most part, you don't see white men going around making fun of white women like that and putting on dresses and getting
Hmm.
on the internet. And it's to the point now that men of other races are comfortable doing it. But when I look at, even when I put that response up, like I said, it's just this obsession that we have to validate Black men, regardless of how they invalidate us, if that's even a word, every single day. When we make comments, it's when we do things, they automatically run and they make comments about it, they write posts about it. Like I seen this guy put up a post where he said, he showed a woman in some high heels and said any woman that's a grown woman still wearing tennis shoes is childish and her pussy stank. And I was like,
What?
I said, what? I said, I'm not understanding the correlation here between how a pussy smells and what kind of shoes you have on. But stuff like that, they
But a
say
whole
things
bunch of
like that.
women would, would see that and automatically, then here come the pick me's raising their hand. Oh, I always wear high heels. That's not me. I don't never wear sneakers. But then you need to take your little
Exactly.
ass to the gym with every sneaker on that there is then possible to buy. But now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, posting pictures. I'm like, I promise you, you can put on the internet. You could say girls with good pussy. You were like, girls with good pussy got hair on their upper lip. And I bet you like 20 heifers will be posting pictures of their upper lip with some hair on there. Like you can, like, yeah, I got a little stubble. Like it's just, oh my God. Or you'll see these guys posting these memes saying stuff like how many females can say that they only slept with one or two guys so far this year, I'll wait. And you got girls like, yeah, me, or they'll be like, I got $200 for any any female that don't got kids, who ain't been ran through, and who got her own money, and who ain't no government assistance. And they be like, I need my $200. I'll be like, oh, it's
Yeah.
just, this. It's always pick, like we say. That's why we call it pick me syndrome. It's like, pick me. I got my real hair. This is my real hair. I cook. I clean. I ain't got no kids. I only got one kid. I take care of my kid. I ain't put my baby daddy on child support. It's like, it's just
Oh, and
like,
don't
oh
forget,
my
and I submit. I
God.
submit to my king.
Y'all came.
Oh.
That's why we
Well,
call
okay,
it came.
let's see. Anybody in the listening, you guys listening, if you want me to unmute your mic so that you can make a comment, please put it down there in the chat box, and then I will unmute your mic and let you speak, ask a question, make a comment. Okay, so that's put it in the chat, and then I'll unmute your mic. I think okay, no. Well, let me get your perspective because see, you're in a different age group. You're a little
Mhm.
older than my daughter. You're probably about okay. You just turned 30, so you're 5, 6 years older than her.
Uh-huh.
And but I mean, it's close enough. And
Mhm.
you guys are in a different era from me.
Mhm.
And so, from your perspective, what do you think happened to your generation? What is it that the young girls have such problems with identifying themselves as valuable and worthy and beautiful and intelligent and talented and who and believe that they are worth good treatment without needing all of this validation? Why can't they validate themselves? What's
Mhm.
this? What I'm not getting? What's missing? Do you have any thoughts on that? And anybody listening, if you have a thought, just let me know.
Um, I this is just my, I would say, theory. I can't really say, I don't have any numbers, any statistics, but I hope this makes sense. I know that I would say like teenage pregnancy, I mean, there's always been teenage pregnancy, but I think in like, I would say maybe baby boomer generation and maybe the next one, it was a lot more people getting married when they were like really, really young.
Right.
And so teenage pregnancy wasn't a thing because, people was getting married at 15 and 16. And so a lot of um like I see, starting with, I don't know what my mom's generation would be considered, because I know baby boomers would be like my grandparents, but they basically, my mom's generation is, to me, where it seems to me, from just the things that I hear, from what my friends say when they tell me the ages of their parents, it seems like that's when teenage pregnancy, like out of wedlock, just started to become more commonplace. And so that generation right there, to me, seems like it was a generation where, fatherlessness was kind of growing in the Black
Mm-hmm.
community. And so the majority of our mothers were single mothers, teenage mothers, multiple children by the time they were 19 and 20. And the father was nowhere in the home. And that generation, to me, kind of was the generation where the girls got thrown out the house when they were 18, but the boys could stay till they was 35, and where the hostility and the anger and the resentment of like Black girls being young and carefree just started to like really increase. And I think that our mothers, unfortunately, I'm not talking about my mother specifically, but a lot of our mothers have created this because they have favored our brothers over us. And so they have, it's almost like this obsession that Black women have with the Black male's phallus, like, even if it's her son. And it's like they
Oh,
can't
that's
even,
creepy.
when it's like, it's almost like, you, even with their sons, they'll pretty much make excuses for everything that their sons do, but when their daughters do one little thing, you
Yeah, they
mess around,
go on a full attack.
one damn day and pluck your eyebrows when you're 15, and she told you to wait till you was 16, and all of a sudden, you little fast ass, you little hoe, whatever, you must be fucking, excuse my language, you must be having sex just because you got your eyebrows arched. But your brother going around screwing all the girls on the cheerleading squad, you understand what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like the moment any black girl shows any sign of growth or development, don't sit on no grown man's lap. Don't be walking around no grown man with no shorts on. Don't do this and don't do that. So we never ever got any kind of validation. We were always basically told by default we were wrong. It was our fault. If men looked at us a certain way, it's our fault. Don't walk around grown men with shorts on. Don't wear your pajamas around your uncle. Don't sit on your cousin's lap. Don't do this, don't do that. And we stuck taking care of the brothers and sisters and always looking out for them. And so we pretty much got neglected at a really young age, from starting from the time we're like 7 or 8 up until, being teenagers. We mess around and get pregnant at 16, get thrown out the house, get caught all kinds of fast ass. We walking down the street, minding our business. We being fast. We being fast just because we walked in the room. We jumping rope and we doing our little nursery rhymes like you little Sally Walker, and we got little sass and whatever. We fast, we gonna grow to be hoes. We gonna grow. I hear men saying that about young girls all the time. So from a very young age, we are taught to hate ourselves. The boys in our class. Well, I don't like dark skinned girls. I like light skin. I mean, I heard that throughout my whole childhood. Just hearing boys around us pretty much just judging girls and mistreating girls, beating up girls, pushing us down the stairs, just all kinds of stuff, telling us we ugly, our hair nappy, adults, males preying on us, saying stuff like you gonna be thick when you grow up. But then that's our fault.
Right.
We get in trouble for that. So black girls never get the opportunity to really have a childhood, a carefree childhood. And then when we do grow up, we so starved for affection, attention, and validation that we jump. Shit, girls with hair on their lip got good pussy. I got hair on my lip. That's the first thing we do.
Well,
Because
hold that thought. We have a listener who wants to chime in. Okay, now let's see. How do I do this? Uh, Okay, I think I have to
let me find out. You got pipes on you.
make a co-host. I'm not sure how to do this. Okay, more.
Hello?
Rayna?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, let's see. We just have audio for you. You don't have
Okay,
any video?
I'm in my do-rag and I'm doing my manicure.
Okay,
So I don't want to be on camera.
This
okay.
my Rayna.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
This is
Yeah, this
my
Hello?
Rayna.
no,
Hi.
that was Misha talking.
What did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I didn't know if there was. I don't know. I have a friend named Rayna that I know. That I didn't know if
Oh
this was.
no, I'm Rayna Shaw from Los Angeles, California.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
what I want, I'm in my 50s, and how a lot of the younger women, how they miss it. And I'll give you a little bit of information about myself. I've never been married by choice, and I don't have any children. And I had a career in modeling. I worked in the music industry, and I'm a hairstylist now. And a lot of times when the older women can give wisdom to the younger women, they kind of dismiss your information because you don't have a lot of horror stories to tell. You don't have a testimony at church about how you pulled yourself out of a hole.
Uh-huh.
So then they kind of dismiss you. And then another thing, because they've been bombarded with materialism since they were born, through the rap and all that. If you don't drive up in a Bentley, they feel like you're not qualified to tell them anything. Or if you're not married, but it's a lot of reasons why people are not married. It's not because you
Right.
can't get a man. A lot of times there's nothing to choose from. So I would definitely be careful about who I take advice from, but you got to take it from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I avoided a lot of things because my mother gave me good advice and I listened to her, because at 18 I didn't know shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to listen to somebody. You got to pick a mentor whose life that you respect, and you got to listen. They've been where you're trying to go when you're younger.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how a lot of the young women miss it. In my generation, I'm a product of the 80s, we missed it, I think, a lot because we grew up on black exploitation, you know, where the black man was trying to get the man and trying to defeat whitey, and we kind of got that into our psyche or whatever. And, you know, feeling like we need to be race first and that kind of thing. And I
Uh-huh.
think that, no, we don't need to be race first. We need to be character first.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
get the men that like you, because I haven't, from way back, I haven't really had a good rapport with the black boys. They were abusive earlier. When I was in high school, girls that were in these serious relationships, they were experiencing domestic violence way back when we were kids.
Yeah, they call it teen
Right.
dating violence now.
Yeah, yeah. And then the guy in high school that I was all crazy about, he dumped me. And years later, he ended up a murder suicide. So I'm glad he dumped me.
Ooh,
Wow.
heck yeah.
Wow.
You know what I
Oh,
mean? He killed himself. He killed the woman that he was with first, and then he killed himself. So I just feel like that situation, I was blessed to be released from that early on.
yeah.
He told me I was too skinny and I had a big nose. You know, he ran down his whole list of reasons why he was dumping me, but I thank him today.
Yeah. For the trash taking itself right out.
Yeah, and then you know what? It made me get out of that relationship thing and like go see the world and get yourself a life
Mhm.
and get a career.
Well, let me
Right.
ask you something, Raina, because see, you're close to me. You know, we're older than her, and she
Mhm.
just made 30 last month. So,
Mhm.
she's in a different generation. So, what would be your what would you think was what motivated you, I guess is the best word, motivated you to turn your energy towards pleasing and developing yourself versus focusing on men? What changed in your mind? What do you think was the trigger?
You know what? When I was in the 11th grade, somebody left an Ebony magazine in my English class. And it was a cover story about the top 10 black models in the world in Ebony magazine. It was Beverly Johnson, Pat Cleveland, and all that. And then it was just like,
I think
wow.
I remember that. I remember that
Yes,
that issue.
July 1980 was the issue. And it had all the models, and these black women was all over in Paris, and they were in Italy, and they was here and there. And I said, you know what? I don't know how that's going to turn out for me, but I'm going to go try it. So I had something that I wanted to do with all my might. If you get a dream and
Mm-hmm.
something that you really want to do, you will bypass a whole lot of stuff that's not going to be good for you. Get you a dream, something that you love to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
That is excellent, excellent advice. Find yourself a dream. So many
Mm-hmm.
young girls don't have one. Their dream is to get a man.
is that, and you know what my mother told me a few years ago, I was, you belly aching about some things that I felt like should have turned out different. And my mother said, get a new dream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The first one might not have panned out the way you wanted to. So get a new dream, reinvent yourself. You have to do that at every age.
See, Mama Shaw, I need to meet Mama Shaw because her
Oh,
self
that is my best friend. Lord have mercy. But yeah, she was like, no babies, take birth control. She didn't. She said you're gonna want to have sex, but you don't have to have a baby by every man.
there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
understand
take birth
that.
control. You need to have that because like I just got through watching this show. I just got through watching this show to Rome for Love or something like that. They interviewed me for that show, by the way.
Oh wow.
And I told them, if y'all not getting some white men with some money, that I'm not interested because in Europe, I live there. They got a lot of gigolos over there. They got men
Mhm.
that want the green cards. And American black women, we need to learn to be more shrewd and more discerning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all for dating out and that kind of thing, but we got to work on our self-esteem. You got to like yourself because there's predators in every race and they can
Yep.
smell desperation
Yes.
and when you don't like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Because
thank you, Raina.
thank you.
Um, let me gonna mute her back down. Um,
See.
I wanted to, so let's get your thoughts on what she said. The thing about the dream. How do you think that would work with the young women in your age group and younger?
Mhm. First, Rayna, thank you for sharing that with us, for shedding light on that, and for encouraging the younger Black women to do what makes us happy. I think that that is an excellent point because many of us do not really know what it is we want, besides a man. Just all we know what we want is a man. We don't know, what our dreams and our goals are or what makes us happy. And whoever we get with and whoever we date and whoever we want to be with has to be a person that cares about the things that we care about. And if we have certain interests, then we need a person who cares about you and who cares about what you're passionate about. They're going to think about you and they're going to support you in that. And unfortunately, it's really hard to find that, which is why I'm seeing a lot more Black women who are educated and entrepreneurs and whatever traveling the world because they don't want the extra burden of dating somebody who just gonna do what they want to do anyway.
Well,
And when
and I have to tell you about a situation I had, and I really liked this guy too. It was, it was pretty cool, and it was some years ago. I don't remember. It was like a long time ago. They interviewed me for Black Enterprise magazine, and I had like a
oh
3-page spread in there. And I didn't even tell. I mean, the only people I told were my family. You know what I mean? It was kind of I didn't quite know what to do with it. It was kind of a surprise that they chose me. So this guy
mhm,
I was going out with at the time, he was like, I hadn't told him. He like comes to the house for dinner, and he's sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, you must think you all of that because you made it into Black Enterprise." Now you see, if you say that, like, say if you said that to me, and we would be laughing about it, so I could be like, "Yeah, girl, I am. Don't even stand too close to me because I might, the sharpness might poke me or something." We're gonna be joking about it. But I was looking down because I was eating, and I looked up to see. I was expecting him to be laughing, right? He had this mean mug thing on his face. He was deadly serious, and
right,
I knew in that moment that was the end of our relationship. That second, that was it, because
mhm,
it's like this was like a foundational thing for me where I was being acknowledged for something that I had done that a lot of other Black people hadn't, which was
mhm,
start a successful website. And
right,
he, instead of congratulating me and being proud and asking what's the next step and all this kind of stuff,
yeah,
his immediate approach was to say something to try to put me down and shatter my self-confidence.
yeah,
I got rid of that clown, and that was the end of that. When he got
yeah.
up to leave, that was it. It was over.
Yeah. They're very jealous of Black women and their accomplishments. I see this all the time. Just like even what's his name? I don't know if we can say names on here. I won't, just to be safe. But
Yeah, I prefer not because then they be getting free pub, and most of them are knuckleheads.
right. Well, he's a very well known I guess he's a psychologist.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, um, I know on one of his posts that he said if Black women took all the money that they spend on hair care products and things like that and took that and put that back into the Black community, then we would be much further along. And I saw Black women coming on there really, really writing for him. And I just said, every last one of y'all is retarded because every last one of y'all is retarded because number
That's
one,
not politically correct.
I mean, sorry, every last one of y'all is retarded because first of all, if it wasn't for Black women, there would be no Black community. The Black community is held up and held together by Black women. Even back in the day, what they had like the big mama, figure
Right.
in Black families. You ain't never heard nobody talking about no big daddy, no big papa. You ain't heard nobody talking about that. You heard about big mama, and big mama held the family together. Everybody came to her for advice, came to her house for dinner, whatever. Black women have been carrying the community for 75 years. So I'm trying to figure out why is it that we still feel this burden to take on all the problems of black men. It's like I see all these memes, build your man up, and it shows a woman putting the little puzzle pieces up. And then it says, you see memes where it's like, lift your king, protect a black man, love a black man. Um, you know, just various memes that I see where it says, she's a black man's strength, or, only a queen can calm a king down, and it shows like a black woman in front of a lion trying to calm it down. And I'm like, why do we always take on these build a man projects and we neglect ourselves? Ain't nobody looking out for us. Ain't nobody bending over backwards for us. I see memes and all these videos where girls are like, yeah, when Bay get home from work. First of all, that's not even your husband. Like, we be doing all of this stuff for boyfriends, for men who have not
And
even.
wait, and half of them aren't even that. I mean, just because it's a dude that you kicking it with and sleeping with,
Yep.
does not make him your boyfriend. I mean,
Yeah.
he has no real emotional ties to you. He do the same thing with you that he's doing with 2 or 3 other women. So they don't really kind of connect it. They feel like if they have some emotional investment in him, then that makes him her man, and she needs to do this whole litany of activities to keep him around and to satisfy and please him. And I'm like, I'm not doing shit. Nothing. Nothing. Don't ask me to do shit.
I
Because
mean,
I'm going to tell you no. And then I'm going to like conjugate it with hell the fuck and all this other stuff. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You want something, ask your mama. Don't ask me.
because you can always rely on, you can present any type of, it don't even have to be genuine, any possibility, or any, like you talk about them holding marriage in front of you like a carrot on the stick, or these men feeding you breadcrumbs and doing all these little gestures to make you believe that there could really be something between y'all. And you really know deep down inside, it's like the level of Stockholm Syndrome that I see black women with. It's just like, I've never seen anything like it. It's like, we say, oh, this is loyalty. They call it loyalty, but it's really this ride or die, culture that we live in, where regardless of how poorly a man treats you, you still got to stick around. The more he pushes you away, the harder you got to try, and it's like we always trying to make black men's lives easier. And we trying to do things like we got to remind him about his court date, or we got to remind him to pay a bill, or, make sure he got this,
reminding me.
Well, don't forget your daughter got a appointment tomorrow. And it's like the fact that we constantly, because I remember one of your videos you were talking about that when the guy, when she said the guy dropped the wine bottle because it broke, he grabbed it by the handles or something instead of by the bottle, and the wine bottle fell out and broke. And she was saying that he wrecked her car. And he tried to say that somebody else caused the wreck, and she didn't believe him. But he said he was going. It was one of them videos that you were responding to a question, and the moment she said he wrecked my car, I knew right there that she was trying to be his mama. I wish I would let a grown man roll out in my car. Like, I'm not doing that, and it's like, to me, and if somebody want to do that, that's their prerogative. But it's almost like we know that we feel like black men are incapable of doing all of these basic adult things on their own. So that's why we feel like we got to bail niggas out of jail, put money on their books, pick them up, drop them off. We got to buy Christmas presents for their kids, all kinds of stuff, which, I mean, how many of these men, if it wasn't for their girlfriends or their significant others, that their children by other women wouldn't have Christmas presents, wouldn't have birthday presents, wouldn't have school supplies, all kinds of stuff. And we take on all of this, and there's no reciprocity. I have yet to see a meme of a black man uplifting black women or saying, I cooked this meal for my lady. This is what I did for my girl. You don't see that.
You won't see that because they're too afraid if they do that they'll be called a simp and a wimp and all kind of stuff. Hold on, we got a Nikita who is gonna pop in here and respond to. Wait, did I just? Oh, okay.
Ooh, I'm hungry.
You cannot. Nikita, your mic is open, so you can make your comment now.
Nikita.
Nikita.
Okay. Hi. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying in the chat earlier, I remember being, um, young, maybe around 6 or 7 years old.
Oh, a
And I have all,
baby.
yeah. And my aunts, they would just say little things to sort of, I guess back in the day, they would probably call it teasing or whatever. But they would just like point out little imperfections like, oh, listen to how you talk, or, you're going to grow up and marry a white boy, and
Oh
just
God.
little things like that. And I always sort of felt like I wasn't part of the family or whatever.
Oh,
I love my family and everything, but I'm 38 now, and those comments, I remember each of them. And it took me a long time to sort of get over it and build confidence and sort of be the person that I am today. And I'm sorry I'm getting emotional.
no,
Mm.
you have every right to be. That is horrible. How could it? You got grown women attacking a 6 or 7 year old child. What is wrong with you?
And
Mm.
I mean, yeah, that type of teasing. And I wasn't equipped for it because I'm an only child.
Right.
And,
Mm.
it just,
Yeah, now I can see that would be
yeah,
hard.
yeah. But when my little cousin came along, he was the only boy in the family. Oh my God, exalted,
Yep. Yep.
to the highest honor by the same aunt who used to sit there and tease me or whatever. Who was the one who grew up to marry outside the race? Not me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because he probably had enough of them old raggedy aunts. Like, I'm
And
sick of you.
but to this day still cater to him everything. I get called when something's needed, you
Girl,
know.
you need to start activating your block sheet.
Yeah.
You know, that block all
Yeah.
these numbers here. You just go to your cell phone. You know, they have the little web page where you can put in all the little apps and stuff. And they
Yeah.
have them, honey. I love to go in there and see what new stuff I have to block people. They got the new way of do you just put the phone number in and you press the little button on the web page and they can't text, they can't call you. And if you have the right kind of carrier, they get a message. The caller that you are trying to reach is not interested in speaking with you.
Yeah, it's so funny. And like I said, I've grown up a lot. I see things differently. I understand that they're products of their time or whatever. But yeah, I see that in our girls. Like, we don't, I'm thankful for my mother because she always said I wanted a girl. I'm glad to this day. She was like, I'm glad I had a girl. I just, so I never got that from my mom. But there is definitely something to be said because I've heard my cousins say about their female children, oh my God, they're such bitches. You don't want a girl when they turn a
Mm.
certain
Mm.
age, this
Mm.
and that.
Oh
And
my
I want
God.
little boy. Yes, yeah, very male identified. And I'm not sure why that is. I don't
Yeah, that's what we
understand
here
it.
trying to figure out when did this happen and why does it only happen to certain, certain women? What's the key thing
Yeah.
that happens to them that doesn't happen to others? And you see, like, we understand what's going on, so we're not going to go down that path. Or if we, some
Mm-hmm.
people did, they turn back. But there's some women who, I mean, they're just like steadily on that track. And I just don't get it. I never took one step on that track, honey. I'm not doing shit for a man. Nothing. Nothing. I mean, nothing.
Yeah. But what's so funny, these same people, they come home, they work 40, 50 hours a week, come home and then work another 10, however many
Hmm.
hours catering to their husband. I'm not married. I don't want to be in that situation. So, whatever makes you happy, but no, it's not for me.
Girl, I understand, but I just want to say, Nikita has been around on my Facebook wall for years. So it's good to finally get to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm sorry about the story that you told. I hate that that happened to you, but I'm glad to know you and you cool with me.
Thank you. And I'm a better person for it.
Oh, okay, well, good. Long as there's some benefit and you can see to
Yes,
the other side, then it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
absolutely. Thank
unmute you
you.
now. If you want to make another comment, just let me know. Okay,
Will do. Bye bye.
bye bye.
Bye.
She's cool. She makes,
Yeah,
interesting comments on my wall. So
that's
it's
just
always
me.
interesting in situations like this to, actually get to talk to the people.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yeah, I see her. Okay, I'm gonna add her as a friend.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that just made me mad though. Her story, she just made me mad because I know how that is, and I see it in my family how my even one of my relatives, um, she doesn't, one of my, I guess, like extended family,
Hmm.
like he has step parents and then grandparents and stuff like that. And so one of my relatives was just kind of really nasty, has been resentful of another one of my relatives for a long time. And it's been pretty much where she makes excuses for her son and how her son treated, my immediate family member. But, of course, what my grandma did, I'm gonna just say who it was, my grandma did was so awful and horrible and terrible, and I'm not excusing her poor behavior because she did do some bad stuff. But, pretty much, she was in an abusive marriage. And so it's like, so this is what I hear one day. Well, your grandmother was so used to provoke him to the point that he even got to the point to where he put his hands on her. I
What?
said, so that was so it was okay for him to do that. She said, no, I'm not trying to say my son is perfect, but I'm just letting you know. I was like, got you. You're basically justifying him beating her, but you resent her, because she wasn't the best mother, but he was up there beating her ass in front of the children.
Oh no, he would have had to die.
And
I said,
so, but
you're
so
just
I
dead.
was
Lady is like, lady, let me tell you, your son put his hands on me. He got one more time, and you better get your funeral money together because that motherfucker is going to be dead. You're going to be going to a funeral wearing all black, burying your nappy headed son. That's what's going to happen. That's it. And I wouldn't care if I had to kill him in his sleep because he might be bigger than me. But
right. You
he's
just might
going
have
to, right,
right.
he might be big and I might have to kill him in his sleep, but he's going to die.
Hmm.
That's just it.
Yeah, I see that all too well in Black families, and I have, a relative that is, who's basically a philanderer and has like children, out of wedlock children in the double digits, and yeah, and I think 12. And 12 but 11 women. And so I'm not going to say what my relationship
Ooh,
with every
wee.
person is, but I will say that the women in my family think it's hilarious when he comes around family events and makes a spectacle of himself and jokes about, things and makes disrespectful comments about women. And even to the point to where if the women retaliate after he does whatever, then they'll take his side, even if he did something wrong. Knowing that he's been abusive, been known to use physical force to beat women, pushing them down the stairs, knocking women up, even though it's like you taking care of your children financially, which he's always been in a position to do so, but it's just like they think that means that it's okay. You bring all these children into where there's no way in the world that you are loving and supporting and providing for that many children in the manner in which they deserve to
Right.
have.
That's too many. That's too many. Plus hold a job. Plus, what did you live your life to? No, that's
And then
impossibility.
get married later on. To think that this is another thing right here. Why would you marry somebody like that? It's just, oh my God. I just don't understand us, especially when you have probably a whole lot of other men who would want to be with, want to be with you, and you choose
Somebody's at
the
my door.
most.
Keep talking.
Ooh, tell them you busy. You choose the most unqualified man in the world to get married to and then have another child with after they already have children in the double digits. So I'm just really confused as to why we feel like we can't really get anything better than just whatever man we see lying around in front of our doorstep. And I know, hold on, I'm scrolling because it was something that I wanted to share, that I wanted to piggyback off of. But a friend of mine, we talk about this quite, frequently, about this epidemic of Black women pretty much feeling like they just can automatically jump the gun and start putting in all this effort without getting reciprocity, and how, you know, we're the only race of women who, as a collective group, have this problem to where we bailing dudes out of jail, constantly fixing plates, and, you know, doing all of these wife-like things, and things that even as a wife, you have to draw the line. Even as a wife, if
Heck
your
yeah.
husband is not responsible enough to step up and handle his business as a provider, as a father, as a husband, as a protector, it's certain things that we're doing too much of, even as wives. We're always, you know, bragging about how we submit and how we support our king, and how whatever daddy want, daddy get. You know, what about you? Because he sure don't be on the internet talking about you like that.
So
And
don't. Let me
we
get, hold on a second. Let me get, Callie had a very interesting comment that she made in the chat room
mm-hmm.
about Black mothers. And I
They
would
be on
like
some
her. Callie, are you there? Callie, JNS. That's what it says here.
California know how to party. I don't know, when I heard you say Cali, I just thought about it.
Can you just, speak on that? Oh, she says she's in the middle of a work shift, so she can't talk. Oh, okay.
Can you read the comment?
Yeah, I'll read it then. Well, hold on. Where is it? Oh, here it is. The Electra Complex is real. Many Black women look at their daughters as competition. And, that could very well be one of the reasons why they talked about their daughters in such a way. And I know when I was doing that survey on my blog about child sexual abuse, I was shocked at how many women said that when they were young and the thing was happening, they told their moms about it. And the mothers, instead of getting rid of the stepfather or the boyfriend who was abusing the daughter, they sent her away. So
Yeah.
these girls were like doubly punished, and the mothers felt like, that she did it on purpose, that she was seductive, that she shouldn't have done whatever she did, like how you were talking earlier about, the way she dressed, or the way she talked, or the way she walked, or she was smiling too much, or she was too friendly, or she was anything other than the fact that this adult male took advantage of this child. That's
Yep.
all you need to be focused on. But that's not what these women did. And I was shocked at, hundreds of women, because there's over 20,000 people have responded to that survey at this point. And hundreds of women told a similar story. And that was just disgusting to me. It's like, how could you do that? The police would have to be pulling me off a dude.
Yeah.
Just
I'd
look
be
at
in the
my daughter
hospital.
sideways, you're going to die.
I'd be on
I'm
death row.
quite violent. I believe in killing people.
I'd be on death row if that was my child. I know
Oh,
that.
honey,
I
with
would.
a big
Yeah.
old smile. Yeah, I might be in death row, but that MF is in a graveyard.
It happens. It happens. Well, like, it's so common in our communities where it's like we're jealous. I think a lot of Black mothers resent the carefree Black childhood, female childhood experience, because they had to sacrifice a lot of that when they had children early on. So they resent young Black women that, are carefree, that are enjoying their lives, that have, certain activities. Say you're on a cheerleading squad, or you might be in the band, or you might, do some modeling, or, especially when you're really girly. It's like a really feminine Black girl or woman is really frowned upon. But when you take on this masculinity, then they tell you, well, Black women are not feminine enough. When we are feminine, the first thing they try to do is cut us down. That's why they always on the internet talking about weave, talking about makeup, talking about our clothes. It's like this obsession with how we look, and how every race of women choose to adorn themselves. Asian women, Mexican women, or Latino women, white women, whatever race, Middle Eastern women, all of these women in the Middle East be having a whole veil over their face with a full beat face of makeup. So every race of women does things to adorn ourselves. White women wear extensions, Hispanic women wear
They the
extensions.
ones that invented it.
They the
Wigs
ones
and
that
extensions. White folks invented that stuff.
yeah, they do all of that, but we're the only people within our own communities that get disrespected because we choose to do the same things. We're women. That's what we do. We want to look pretty. We want to
Right.
look good. When we adorn ourselves, then they'll lust over you, but then they'll still talk about you behind your back and be like, well, I don't know why you wearing all this weave and all this makeup. But then when you take it all off, they be like, well, you nappy headed, or you're not feminine enough. And I'm like, Black women and Black girls are not even allowed to be feminine, because the first thing y'all do is cut them down. Y'all blame us. Y'all blame our femininity for why y'all penises can't stay in your pants. Y'all blame our femininity for why you are a rogue beast and why you just can't keep your dick out of women. You blame our femininity for everything, and then when we bring it down a notch and we become more down to earth, more what they call masculine, then well, Black women aren't feminine enough. And I'm like, well, you can't. It's hard to be feminine when every time you walking around looking like a girl, everybody trying to get in your drawers, or everybody trying to sell you into sex trafficking, or blaming you for why your uncle, can't keep his hands off of you. And then we can't be feminine. We can't be carefree because we always have to take on this role. We have to be prepared to fight. We got to be prepared to cut a nigga. We got to be prepared to run from somebody, from some predatory man in our neighborhood, from our mamas. We got to do everything to make ourselves unappealing. We got to put on extra weight. We got to do all of this stuff to make ourselves unappealing, because if we are appealing, we're going to be preyed upon, and then we are going to be blamed for it.
Right.
So
Exactly. That is it. That sums it up in a nutshell. I think a part of that too is this other aspect of it, the carefree thing that you're talking about. How so many women, adult women, like if a teenage girl gets pregnant, or even before she gets pregnant, they actually encourage her to get pregnant. Some of these parents ask the daughters, well, when you gonna make me a grandmother? The girl's 18. Can she go to college and get some education first?
no.
And also, like, should she actually get pregnant? Oh, well, God will make a way. It'll be all right. God don't put nothing on you that you can't handle.
God
Instead
ain't
of
got nothing
taking
to
her down to the nearest abortion clinic so she can lose all contact and all ties to the little knucklehead that got her pregnant.
do.
That, I
Right.
mean, why would you want her to be saddled with that for the rest of her life and have to either put her opportunities on hold and her dreams on hold, or she'll have to try to, figure out how to do that and do the dreams at the
Right.
same time? Why stress her out like that? Just give her the opportunity to live her life carefree as long as possible. But that's not what they do.
Well, if you would have had some sense and got them on some kind of birth control in the first place. See, this is the thing that I think that women need to realize. This is why I resent the notion. This is this pick me shit though, right here. This notion, this is why I resent this notion that, let me touch on this real quick about when we were talking about being feminine, being beautiful, and adorning ourselves. The first people that I see that judge the way other Black women look are other Black women.
Mm-hmm.
And Black men know that they can always rely on Black women to rally with them against other Black women. They know they can rely on us to throw one another on under the bus for their sake. And so they have all this ammunition, and they can say the most disrespectful crap in the world, or the most irrelevant, immaterial stuff, like I said earlier, like what the way your vagina smell got to do with the kind of shoes you got on your feet. They say the most irrelevant, stupid, immaterial, and disrespectful things to women, and you can always count on a peanut gallery of Black women with low self-esteem who trying to get picked, saying ha ha ha, LOL, whatever. And then I see this all the time where I'll put on some pictures. I'll put some pictures of makeup, not just because I like to wear it, but because this is advertising for me too, because
Right.
this is my line of work.
You do a
And
great
so,
job, by the way.
thank you. And so the first thing, you got women come on there, I want something like that, but I still want to look natural. Well, you don't need your makeup done. If you want to look natural, then you just need to get up and go. And so then it's like they'll make comments like, well, I don't wear all of that makeup. All I wear is lip gloss and mascara. Boo boo, that's makeup. That is lip gloss is makeup. Mascara is makeup. Eyeliner is makeup. Foundation is makeup. It's all makeup. And so when they see you, and the first thing they want to do is, well, I really don't need all that makeup because I got natural beauty. Bitch, I do too. Like, I'm fine. I don't need makeup. This is just what I choose to do, not only for my work, but because I like to adorn myself. I want to put on makeup because I can. Like, I don't owe anybody an explanation for why I wear makeup or why I want to put some weave in my hair. But this is my real hair. I got all my hair. And mind you, everybody that's bragging about their real hair, when you see how they look, I'm like, the chicks that always brag about this is my real hair, they be looking like what's his name? Wanda, was that Wanda that Jamie Foxx played
Uh-huh.
on In Living Color? That's how they be looking, talking about, oh, this is my hair. So they feel like they're better than you. They have more credibility than you because they're not wearing makeup, they're not wearing weave, and they're doing all this when God say, how many girls can say that they don't wear makeup every day? Me. And guess what? Ain't none of y'all got picked. Y'all did all of that. Y'all threw all these other black women under the bus. Y'all did all of this talking. Y'all did all of this caping for black men, and you still don't have a man. And even the women that I know that have the largest platforms, I know it's probably like a few of them that are married, but even like these women that have these large platforms where they're always uplifting and praising the black men and saying that that's their job, that's their duty in life, they don't never have no man.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, as a former pick me, I get more attention and respect from men now that they know that I don't like them than I did when I was a pick me. When I was a pick me, my DMs, my phone, nothing, it was dry as hell. I didn't get no kind of play or nothing. These
It's too
men see
common. It's too common. There's no challenge in that.
they see me now, and I be on here like, I really don't like y'all, and they be like, oh, black queen, don't give up on us. You black queen,
Please.
it sounds like you're giving up on us. You have no faith in us. Because I had put this post up where I put up a post that said, what did it say? I said, ladies, tell me about a time that a man held you down, and everybody came on there laughing because they knew. And this guy shared my post. This guy, random guy, shared my post, and at the top of it, he said, "SMH, no faith in us at all." And I just came on there and just typed LOL because he was like really emotional, but they say things like that. And I'm like, what reason have you given black women to really have faith in y'all? And
Right.
I have not found any reason for us to
Because
really
if
have
you ask
faith
them
in them.
questions like that, they don't have an answer. Those are questions that, he should be able to rattle off a long list of things
Yep,
that he has personally done, men that he knows has done, men that he read about in the newspaper, online have done. He should have a readily available list of things to
yep,
respond to that question. Since he does not, and then none of the other dudes either, those kind of threads just stay empty. Or they try to flip
right.
it around and say, well, what have you done? They try what have
And
you
we can,
did?
and
Like, no,
our
this
list
ain't
will
about
start
me
right up
right
here.
now. This
Our
is
list
about
will
you,
be this
homie.
long. Our list will be this long. We're talking about all the stuff that we done did. Even with me, like I have to vet. I have learned that I have to vet black women now because a lot of them will be like feminists, and then they'll like be a pick me cloaked in feminism. And so they'll come on your page and you think that they're like, yeah, I'm down for the
Oh,
cause or whatever. And this is not to say, I think the notion that to be feminist, to be black, to be, centered around black women and yourself as a black woman is taken as hate black man, die black man, whatever. Some of them do need to die. Some of them I
yeah,
do
no,
like.
there's just wasting of air and resources on the planet.
But it's like they think that every little comment that we make about black men is taken personal, because the first thing they think about, well, I have a son. Well, I have a son. Well, I have a son. Or I have a father. Or I have an uncle. I ain't got no son, but I got an uncle. I got a father. I got grandfathers. I got all of it. And I can tell you ain't none of them shit. Like, so all of them ain't shit. So it's like we cannot take the things that we say or these observations as just a general, observation that we're making about the collective of black men without us putting our personal feelings in it about the men in our lives, or formerly in our lives, that we respected and valued, or that we currently do. Because your son, well, I have a black son. You know how many black sons ain't shit?
Right.
Your black son
They
that
don't show. They're not going to show their mother and their sisters that side of them. The only person who sees that side of them are the women that they're in intimate relationships with.
I mean, that's that. I don't understand why that's hard for them to grasp. I saw this one post, this woman, this black woman, and I said, this is exactly why I don't trust the majority of them. Her son, she put on a post up saying that her son was basically at the house with her, lying about his whereabouts, when he was supposed to be doing something with the daughter. His baby mother had contacted her, and she lied and said that she hadn't heard from the son when he was sitting right there. She was like, I'm not about to throw my son under the bus for no bitch or whatever. And I was like, wow. And this man is supposed to be taking care of his kid. And so the baby mama is contacting him. The child's mother was contacting him for something related to their child. And she was like, I'm not about to throw my son. I'm not about to rat on my son. I told her that he wasn't here, or that I hadn't heard from him, and he's sitting right here. And I said, if your son is laid up under you like that,
Codependent.
that's some weird stuff right there anyway.
Oh
And
no. No, my son, hey, you have a kid, I've been like, get your black ass up and get out of my house and go get your baby. If you didn't want to have the responsibility of being a father, you should have kept your dick in your pants. Now the fact, don't come here with that. Don't you ever come here when you're supposed to be over there being the daddy. Get up
yeah,
and get out. And that would have been it. And don't come back. I don't want to see you for a good month or two.
these women be having on their sons laid up under them and stuff. And it's this guy
That's
that is
weird.
a YouTube. He has a YouTube channel that I listen to a lot, and he's like he considers himself to be like a shaman. Like what that means, don't you?
Hmm.
Yeah, he's like so he gets into like a lot of spiritual stuff and stuff too. But he's homosexual, but he heavily defends black. He's not one of those homosexuals that envy black women and, want us to die and want to fight us and call us bitches and all that. Every time I see his videos, he's usually defending black women. And he basically has said in multiple videos, black women need to protect their energy and their personal space from these black men, and
Yes.
how he sees that we give way too much of ourselves to these men whose energy is not even one that we need to have in our space. And he was saying how when he was talking about some people that had confided in him about um, relationships, that grown men were confiding in him about long-term relationships, sexual relationships that they had with their mothers and their grandmothers.
Oh,
He was saying that it happens he said we automatically think, oh, that's some Texas trailer park white people stuff. And he said, I mean, he's met countless numbers of men who have had sexual relationships with the women in their families, like they were in incestuous relationships. And I'd be wondering sometimes if black women deep down inside, a lot of them, I'm not saying this is commonplace, but a lot of them have this unnatural attachment or affection for their children, for their sons.
right.
It's like it's really
He's a male
unnatural.
substitute. A
Yeah,
substitute for their
I see that
loved
way too
one.
much. And so they're constantly looking for that validation that they would want in a romantic partner. And they put all of that on their sons. And that's another reason why their sons can get away with murder, is because they're looking at that son almost like a romantic interest, and like a lover, like a substitute, like that woman that she was in wheelchair bound for the rest of her life, and her son got murdered by the father because she had escaped an abusive marriage. and the father found them and got into the house, and he had tried to kill the mother, and the son was trying to protect the mother, and the son got murdered. Unfortunately, the mother ended up being permanently, wheelchair bound as a result. And I don't know what happened to the father, the husband, but even in that, she was calling the son the man of the house.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, the man of the house. And she had a whole husband. This was the boy's father. She had a whole husband, and his father murdered him trying to protect the mother. And so, but she called him the man of the house. And it's almost like we cannot, even though she left a marriage where she had a husband who was supposed to be the man of the house, she still could not reconcile in her mind that she did not need a man. So she put her son in that
In that
role
role.
after she
Oh,
left her husband. And I'm not trying to, disrespect her or, throw her under the bus, because, I can only imagine the devastation of having to leave an abusive marriage and take your children and flee as far as you can. And then, your husband finds you and kills your kids and, paralyzes you. So I'm not trying to judge her, but I'm saying it's just this unnatural attachment and affection that we have for the Black males in our family. And whenever we make comments about the collective of Black men, Black women cannot take that and apply it and agree with it without getting personally offended because they have Black men in their families,
right.
or they have close relationships. We can't just take that. I'm like, it's obvious that I'm not talking about 100% of Black men, so I don't know why it's so hard for us to separate that.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, they have this dream, they have this fantasy that they're going to meet their soulmate. That
Mm-hmm.
that the soulmate is coming, and that it's a blessing from God, and this is the man who God has sent. If you
Right.
and think about it, if you accept what we say, that there's so many rotten apples in this barrel, that the few little good ones are not going to be enough to go around. If you accept that as a reality, then you're going to struggle with this other thing, in that you're going to get this blessing and that is coming from God. I mean, those
Right.
two things are the opposite ends of the spectrum. And
Right.
so they can't, for their own, I mean, they have this dream for their entire life, this fantasy of what's coming and how their life is going to be based on this fantasy. If we say, well, look, that's that you smoking something, because that's not going to ever happen, because this is what you got coming. This is what you got to pick from. And this is not crap. So this
Mm-hmm.
can't happen based on the reality of this. And
Mm-hmm.
they don't, I'm thinking it's some of that, because I think they would have like some breakdown or something if they
Mm-hmm.
had to accept that the fantasy that they've lived their whole life hoping for, all the dreams, all the wishful fantasies of husband and family and all stuff,
Right.
is never going to come to them. Then they would feel devastated, and I think they would feel betrayed, and they would wonder why, God didn't bring them this, and what, I mean, it's going to cause a chain reaction
Right.
in faith, that
Mm-hmm.
she's going to shake their faith to the core. So I think
Right.
a lot of it has to do with that. So they have to say that what we're
Yep.
saying is not true, because
That's
otherwise they have to agree with us, and then they won't know what to do with what dream are they going to have now if they let
right.
that one go.
Because the idea that you don't have to have love within your race just has never crossed our minds. And I've read some statistics too that were very, kind of troubling to me. And there's this book. I don't know. I cannot think of that man's name. Ralph. The name of the book is Marriage for White People.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I
Ralph
can't think of his last name right now either, but
Yeah, but
I know what he's talking
his
about.
book, I haven't read it, but I've read some excerpts from it. And it basically is talking about, and this is a Black man who's married to a Black woman, by the way, which I really felt like that kind of gave him a lot more credibility,
Mm,
than Ralph Richard Banks. That's his
yes.
name. He was saying how Black women have the least amount of options available to them, the least amount of options available to them, yet they are the least willing of any group of women to date outside of their race. And they have the fewest amount of options. We're not talking just about, Black men that date white women. or marry white women. We talk about men in jail, men who just don't want to get married, men who have a certain social economic status to where they're not in the position to really marry. And how he was saying that even in those situations, more than half, I think almost 60% of Black women date or marry a man who is in a lower, social economic
Right. Then
class
they
or status than they are. And that was really telling to me when this guy was like, y'all bitches just be looking for child support and stuff like that to be on the come up, and y'all broke bitches just be looking for a come up from niggas. First of all, statistically speaking, you can't do nothing for me.
right. You coming up off of me.
It's like, you ain't doing nothing for me. And so more than half of Black women date down. We're the least likely to date outside of our race. And knowing all these statistics, all I still see is Black women. Well, I don't know about you, but I love my Black men. I love my Black men. And I ask them, what do you love about Black men? It's never anything about the character, the person. It's always about physical.
Right.
His looks, his swag, the way he walks, the way he talks, the way he touch you, the way he wraps his arms around you. And it's never about the way he provides, the way he protects you, the way he stands up for you. White men are having panel discussions about how they can take over the world, how they can build up the economy, how they can send their children to Ivy League schools, how they want to send them to Cornell University and Duke, and Princeton and all of these other colleges, and how they can build up their families and how they can invest money and how they can, leave a generational wealth. What would Black men go and talk about in the circle? Ass, weave, and makeup.
And if women's bras and panties match. I swear, I saw a discussion like that and I was like, wow, really? That's the best you can do. No talking about, like you just pointed out, no talking about building, creating, empowering, financial advancement, financial security, redevelopment of the Black community, buying property and flipping homes for, building homes for the homeless, scholarships for the kids so that the smart kids can get out the hood and do something for themselves. Nothing. Bringing in medical care into the Black community. How about you bring in some gardens and stuff so people can grow some of their own food if you can't go to the grocery store? Let's do something to empower the people, make them have better nutrition and kids. Do something. And I'm looking for Black men to do, and they don't ever do nothing but sit around and talk shit. And and it's just so frustrating to me. It's just like my respect level for the majority of them. There are some, but the majority of them, my respect level is.
They can't talk about things that are important. Yeah, they too busy worried about hair and makeup and what your coochie smell like. That's all that's what they worried about. What your eyelashes and meanwhile, talking about worried about what your coochie smell like. Meanwhile, they got the mustiest balls and the funkiest smelling cum you done ever had. And I'm like, and y'all eating trash. They eat trashy foods all day long. They got to know just Black women. They go to work out every day, so they big and buff, and they be like, yeah, I'm healthy. I work it out every day. But then you sit up here drinking Gatorade and drinking Hennessy all day and eating cupcakes and McDonald's and everything else, and you got to never be talking about the smell. Talking about somebody grown woman's vagina to smell like rainbows and sunset on the beach, and your penis and your pre-cum smells like a dead animal. Like that is.
I'm gonna gag.
I'm just saying, they got the mustiest balls in the world up here want to talk about some woman's vagina smelling funny because she ain't got on no heels. And I be like, what are y'all doing? This is all y'all talk about all day long. Booty, rocking everywhere, video games, the NFL, weave and makeup and hair and how they can get this woman, how they can get that woman. Everybody else, every other man is worried about providing for their families and focusing on doing something for themselves and for their children. Black men sit around loitering all day. That's all I see when I go to the gas station, when I go somewhere. I just watch them just come together. As a group, they can come together to goof off, but they can't come together to solve community problems. They want to put that off on us. And Black women
can't solve the problems that you're creating. I mean, it's like the problems that we have are because of them. So, I
Yep.
mean, that would require all they have to do to solve the problem is stop doing what they're doing. That's it. I mean,
Right.
even if they didn't do the stuff I said, the building and the creating and advancement and all this, just stop doing stuff to destroy things and
Yep.
destroy people. And that would be a huge help. That, we could take it from there. But you can't
Right.
fight a battle and build at the same time. You usually just, trying to fend off the enemy. And that is
Mhm.
what so many women are doing. But let's
Yeah.
get ready to, let's wind down and start coming up with some thoughts on how we can, or, is there anything that we can do and say, and, you guys sitting there listening, be sure to make your comments. I'll read them out loud. What we need to do is figure out what we can do, what we can say, what kind of message can we deliver. I mean, I'll be happy to, to take a lead there and make some videos if everybody thinks that's important. What can we do to turn around the minds of the pygmies and help them develop some self-esteem so that they aren't looking to get it from complete strangers online? Is
Mhm.
there anything that we can do to help this situation? All ideas are welcome.
I think encouraging self love and validation of self. Go to some therapy, like find a support group in your area, things like that. I've actually been working with some women. We were talking about starting a support group in our area with just women only. It can be across racial lines, but women only. We're not centering men. We're not here to talk about men, but working on overcoming past traumas and just whatever inhibitions we face that keep us from doing what we want to do, whatever inhibitions are present in our lives, and how we can overcome those. And a lot of that comes from getting past traumas healed and addressed and facing those things. This is going to be a space of no judgment where you can talk about whatever you want, and we can be there to support each other. We're not there to tell people what to do. We're there to support you, and we're going to work through this together. Just work. Sometimes we don't have to have a plan. Look, we're here and we're supporting each other. Sometimes that's all you need, and then everything else just takes care of itself. So something like that, finding women that you can find to support you, I think
Okay.
helps.
Let me read a couple of comments that came in from Rayna. Get a dream. Date out. Cut
Mm-hmm.
off toxic
Yeah.
friends and relatives. Get healthy mentally and physically.
Mm-hmm.
Stop caring what insignificant people think. Oh, that's the key.
Yeah.
And from Nikita,
Yeah.
encouragement and pursue your interests wherever they lead you. There's no such thing as Black people don't do blank. And,
Free.
and stop telling people your every move. That was back
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah.
Rayna. And Nikita says, yes. That's true because sometimes, you tell people what your plans are, they'll start putting things in place to make sure that you don't those moves aren't successful. And
Right.
sometimes
Reprogramming of
one
the
should not.
subconscious. Yeah.
Callie says, reprogramming of the subconscious mind. The Black
Yes.
community has a collective consciousness that indoctrinates Black women at a young age to never put themselves first. That's very
Preach.
true. We
Yes.
have to disintegrate the collective consciousness and teach young Black women that they are global citizens and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys have some good ideas. I love all three of those. That's
Yes.
really good.
You don't need a man. You're enough. You're always enough. Be selfish. Love yourself.
Ooh, honey. Well, I think I came out the womb saying that.
I know that's
Because they
right.
was like, Debbie, do you want to do this for a man? No, 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 no. You know how Tyler say no? That's me.
No, no.
And they have it on repeat. It's like, no, 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 no. That's me. Yeah,
Value.
man must be useful. That's my thing. I don't even know how many times I've said that. And women say, well, that's gold digging. You aren't about true love and all this old stuff. You love the man who's going to love and respect you. And if he's coming into your life and he's not bringing anything to make your life better, what the hell do you need him for? What is he there for? He's supposed to be there to lift you into the next level. At least support your dreams so you can get there yourself without, trying to hinder you and make you depressed and sad and cry and all sorts of stuff. I'm like, you ain't doing shit and you just coming around here with your dick in your hand and talking about what you want, what I should do and be and wear and all this stuff. I don't want to hear. I can't hear you. I don't want to hear.
Right. My man take care of his kids. My man do this. He go to work every day and provide. Nigga, you was gonna have to go to work every day and provide for yourself, regardless of
Right,
whether I was in your life. You was gonna have to take care of your kids, regardless of whether or not they was by me.
right,
So you don't get a badge of honor for doing basic adult things. The same things that single mothers do, they do way more than you. They go to school, they work, they do all of this, and your single behind either has no children or don't even have sole custody of your children. Yet when we get together, we got to build together, because all this time you had to build by yourself without children, you squandered all that time chasing ass. And so then you get with a single mother who been going to school, who been getting an education, who been raising her kids at the same time, and then you come along with nothing to offer and expect for her to drop everything and build with you.
right.
No, I'm glad I ain't got no kids, because I'd be like, these women with kids, I'll be feeling sorry for them when it comes time to date, because they be having a hell of a time.
Yeah, they better be careful because like I pointed out, there's some real problems there with people trying to victimize people just for their children. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
go over from the webinar that I did. I think this was August, maybe I don't know, July. I don't know when long ago I did it. The webinar on self-esteem. I wanted to kind of review one of these slides so that it's here because it's like I said, I'm thinking that a lot of this pick me behavior is low self-esteem. The cause could be just what you pointed out because I mean, you and Rayna and Nikita, what was going on in childhood and the names that people were called, the blaming that was going on young girls to feel inferior and worthless and ashamed of themselves. So I think we can't point to any one thing as being the reason why there's this global epidemic of low self-esteem. But what I wanted to let the ladies know, anyone who missed that webinar, what some of the signs and symptoms are of low self-esteem, so that if you see yourself in here, then you can perhaps do like was suggested and get some group therapy. I love group. I think it's the best approach. So let's see some symptoms of low self-esteem. Here's my slide. Here we go. This was from the webinar. Feelings of worthlessness and inferiority, poor social skills, acting superior to others, inappropriate emotional responses, irrational fear and anxiety, touchiness, inordinate concern about what others think about you or about really anything,
Mm-hmm.
critical of self and others, perfectionism. You're emotionally dependent on others. That is definitely pick me behavior. Difficulty accepting praise or compliments.
Yes.
Always focuses on negatives. Self neglect. Treating yourself badly, but not other people. Second guessing and doubting yourself and your opinion. Reluctance to take on challenges. Now that comes in when people are afraid to do new things, different things, or other because they really are afraid they're going to fail. But what they do is try to flip it around. Well, I don't want to do that. That's stupid. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But in reality, they're just afraid they're going to mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
Reluctance to put yourself first or really anywhere. You find security in material possessions and expect little out of life for yourself. So those were some that I came up with, and
Mm-hmm.
I examples were given during the webinar of each and every one of those and how those play out. But a lot of these are what we call. Since then, I became aware of the term "pick me," and
Yeah.
a lot of these behaviors are pick me behaviors.
You feel like you being yourself is not enough for you to get what it is that you want in a man. So you have to lower yourself, to a certain point to get that, because you don't feel like I am who I am, and that is enough for any man to love me. And if they don't love me for who I am, then I don't need them. It's like, no, I'm desperate and I need a man. I have to have a man. So I'm going to do things, even though sometimes we be knowing within ourselves that what we're doing is completely ineffective, that is just draining the life out of us, but we still do it anyway because it's like we have to, like I have to prove that I'm worthy, especially when you have, which you talked about this before too, when you got guys talking about all these females and did this and that to me and how they've been hurt. And so we feel like we got to prove to them that we not like other women. And so we do all of this extra stuff and it's never respected, it's never appreciated, and they never acknowledge us for all those things. When they do acknowledge us, it's later on after they've drained the life out of us, after we've moved on to someone else, and they'll say, man, you treated me so good and I didn't deserve it, and I didn't love you the way you deserve to be loved, and but you helped me so much. I'm like, well, you didn't help me at all. All I remember right, cry me a river. Like all I remember in those relationships, I don't remember being uplifted. I don't remember having a sense of accomplishment. The only thing I remember is being physically, mentally, and emotionally and spiritually drained and
Exactly.
completely left empty with nobody to pour back into me, for nobody to, tell me, you know what, I appreciate you and I'm going to show you that I appreciate you. I never got that. I always got just exhaustion and mental and emotional exhaustion. That's all I
Yeah.
ever got. I just was completely drained of everything in me doing that, because you got to do that for yourself, and you're going to do that for another grown man who should be doing that stuff for you. So it's emotionally draining. It's just completely mentally and emotionally draining to be a pick me. I know when I was a pick me, I was just constantly stressed out all the time, frustrated, wondering what I did wrong, what's wrong with me, why won't they? I always felt like that. And now that I'm not a pick me, I really just have never cared so little about a man's opinion of me, and it feels so damn good to just
Doesn't it? Oh, they be
you
like, I think. As soon as they say I think, I'm like, who asked you? I just like cut them off midstream. It's like, okay, if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. Then you just repeat it back to me. That's what you do. I don't care what you think, want, believe, like, nothing. I don't want to hear it. I just don't really have
You
no
just see
interest.
them pining over you when you are just so unbothered. They are like, why have you given up on us, Black Queen? I'm like, because I don't care what you do. Whenever you just have a level of unbotheredness, they do not know how, the way that they pine at you after that, the way that they just like
Yeah,
sling,
they want your
good
attention.
morning. Good morning. How are you, beautiful queen? I'm like, you know what? If you really want to turn me off, keep calling me queen. I promise you. The moment you call me queen, I was immediately turned off. Because that's the
Yeah.
first thing they
And who
said.
told you you could address me by queen, you peasant?
You
It's like,
talk about king, we kings and queens. I love how they talk
like
about
I
we the
said, king of the throne in the bathroom. That's about the only throne you sitting on.
king of the jungle. King of the jungle, because lions basically are like, black men need to stop comparing themselves to lions, because lions is lazy bums and they do all of the, make the women, the lionesses, do all the work. So when they be sitting up there comparing themselves to lions, I'm like, you really have no idea the accuracy in that comparison.
Yeah, but male lions at least are protectors.
At
These
least.
dudes are the victimizers. So
Yep.
they really can't compare themselves to the male lions at all. There's
They
nothing
just,
at all that they can say. Well, this has been very enjoyable. Ladies made some good comments here. The last one here from Callie says, it feels good to not care about what other people think. I'd be like, don't finish your statement if they want to give me an opinion. They do have disdain for Black women who know thyself. Yes, they do.
they
They
do.
they do. They really want to break you down. It's like if they see that you have confidence in yourself
Mhm.
and self-esteem, and you just are like, you're not a pick me, not falling all over them. It becomes their mission to get you under their control and to break you in some way.
Bring you
So,
down a
if you
notch.
ladies, if you aren't strong enough yet on your new walk, do not, don't tangle with them. Or if you try to, you need some backup, come find me, because I will be like,
They try to break your
be shook.
self-esteem
If
down.
you find her, she's on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, that's, that's fun to me because I could be like cooking and then typing with one hand and talking shit, to them with that one hand. I'm not bothered by it at all. It doesn't bother. And they could call me any kind of name. I'll come back, fire back with something. It's no big deal. But if you're not strong enough yet to do that, your psychic shield is not, in place well enough, be very careful about tangling with these guys, because they will gang up on you.
Yes, they
If they feel
will.
like they're not strong
Yes,
enough,
they
they can't
will.
break you by themselves, they put out a call like the little weak pussies that they are, and they
Yep.
become a whole team of weak pussies, and they want to kind of gang up on you. So it might be 20 of them and one of you.
One of
So
you.
be very careful.
That, you know what? They really need to be. They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
They're not.
I see that all the time. I was like, wow, you really, wow. It'd be like 5 or 6 men to one woman. They'll all
Mhm.
come on one woman's comment and just drag her, call her all kinds of names, start cracking on her. And then you'll have women come on there and join in.
Yeah.
And them that I
So
don't
by the
trust.
ultimately, it might end up being like, if it's in a group, it might be, 10, 15, 20 people attacking one. So your block game got to be strong. Figure out how to be blocking people, very easily and quickly on Facebook or any other social
Mhm.
media that you use. Learn how to block people from being able to contact you. That is key. Well, I'm going to try, I'm going to edit this down. Hopefully I'll have it done by next week. Tomorrow's the holiday. So I'm gonna be having fun tonight. Sorry. I'm not gonna be doing any work, but I'll get this edited and get up as soon as I can, so that other people who couldn't make it here with us today can enjoy this discussion, because this was good. I think it'll give people a lot of really good ideas and insight into why they do the things that they do. This is something they probably never even really questioned. But you were good, Misha. Get it, girl.
Thank you, Miss Deborah, for having me.
Oh,
I
I
just,
enjoyed it. I'm glad you let me know and approach me, because something I probably wouldn't have even thought of. But once you did, I said, "Oh yeah, that's good," because she's in that age group that I really don't get to talk to that much. So this is good, because my daughter is in that age group, but she ain't trying to have these kind of conversations with her own mother. She's like, "I don't know you. I don't know
right.
you. I don't want to know you like that." But thanks,
Mhm.
you guys. And, come on to the YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Debsterism. Misha Pisha, Pisha, is on Facebook. So, send her a friend request and say, I was in the chat and I want to be friends with you on Facebook. And
Hey,
I'll
girl,
show
I'll
you
be
say
your friend
hey.
and I'll get you snatched.
Yes,
Oh,
there you
God,
go.
honey.
All right. I will start checking you out later on Facebook.
Okay,
So,
bye, ladies.
bye-bye. Bye, ladies. Bye, everybody.